This world we live in today, a scary place to say the least. Life is losing its value. Our hearts aren't at peace. There are men on their knees while our flag is hung high. There are people with badges who I'm afraid I might die. There is hatred and racism and killing and such. You can watch it on TV, on your phone. It's too much. The word Jesus is taboo, yet the word YOLO is cool. You can have iPads in church, but can't have a Bible in school. I don't understand why we've made things this way, why technology has advanced, but as people, we stay in this mindset of anger, of animosity, of lust. Can't we all see that this world, it's on edge? It might bust. From Nintendo and hacky sacks to free porn and things like that, the internet of things. There was a time we worshiped Jesus and the Bible was real. Now we worship Google and Facebook tells us the deal. And I'm afraid in the change we forgot who we are in the past. How you treated others, that was the bar. We used to be judged by our humanity and grace. Now we judge others with a smug on our face. The world God created, one of beauty and wonder, has become a playground for Satan, his evil not squandered. And though sometimes I fear that we've gone way too far, I am reminded and humbled. Humans, we still are. We are resilient in nature. Evolution's our friend. We get faster and smarter. What we need is a trend. We need everyone out there who can see through the trees to stop screaming out and to bow on their knees. We need to beg our great Father to help rid us of sin. We need to ask for forgiveness for the way we treat men. We need to stop by the neighbors just to say hi. We need to bake them some cookies or maybe a pie. We need to realize the internet is a tool to be used, not a way to hate life and constantly be abused. We need to rise up together as women, as men. We need to take back this country from the state that it's in. We are brothers, we are sisters, we are designed for love. It's important we represent our Father above. Our values, our morals, they were wrote on the cross. So let's take back what's ours. Let's show them who's boss. When established this country in 1776, our founders came together and they asked someone to stitch together a symbol of freedom and of peace, and they drew up a document on which now we should preach. It reads the words that follow, and today I will quote this masterpiece of a document that wins. It has my vote. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We are in the pursuit of fear and distrust. We are all riding along on this terrible bus. We are headed for danger, a dead end, a rough road. We must stop. We must stop. Don't let this country erode. We need love. We need peace. We need good for God's sake. We need everyone to sit down and shut up for a change. We need to open our ears more and quiet our mouths. We need to be humbled, imagination aroused. We need the wisdom to look in the mirror and say, I'm a part of the problem, but I can change that today. Then we all can take action and change where we are. We can smile and laugh. That alone will go far. We can make a new friend with our phone put away. We can even take a moment before dinner and pray. We can shout on our platforms about the kind things people have done. We can refuse to post anything negative, none. We can establish ourselves as stable and safe. We can let people know they can trust us, have faith. We can do the right thing every time. And we can honor our wives and our children, be kind. We can share our true love that we have for another. We can show the whole world that we're sisters and brothers. We can put down the guns and refuse to go fight. We can shine brighter together, this whole world. Be a light We can do all these things, and we can do them today, and we need to start now because our world's gone astray. It's time we start pulling and rein this place in. It's gone far enough. It's ugly with sin. Let's get back to that place where our families are safe. Where the worst thing at a concert is you might run a bit late. Where walking the street in a hoodie's okay, and a game of kickball is what the neighbor kids play. Let's get back to a world where God's word is the key. A world where kindness and love will lead to victory. In the end, the dust will settle and this battle will be won. Will it be good or it be evil that sees the rise of the sun? The answer to that question lies within you and within me. We have the power to make it however we want it to be. Love, kindness, forgiveness, grace, humility, joy. Erase the hate, spread the faith.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you, my friend? That is now it's not going to Clubhouse. The mic was going to Clubhouse. Now it's not going to Clubhouse. Let me make sure we got this one over here. There we go. We can use that. That is the weirdest thing ever, but that's all right. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you, my friend? How are you, my friend? Dude, today is Wednesday. That's right. Today is Wednesday, a.k.a. CMA Day. That's Carter Myers Automotive Group, the most incredible automotive organization in America. If you ever want to be a part of an organization that's really moving lives forward, I would highly suggest you reach out and let me know, because I can hook you up with the owners of this incredible organization. But it's also CMA Day. It's the day that I get to spend with them every Wednesday, which is always super exciting to me. And of course, it's the very first and the very last time it'll ever be Wednesday, January 19th, 2022. So let's make the absolute most, and I do mean the absolute most, of this absolutely incredible, incredible day. Fair enough? Listen, that poem that you just heard, it came to me in what I call like a download. Right? Like it was a normal morning. I woke up, I grabbed my glass of ice water like I do every single morning, walked around, checked on the babies, made sure all the babies were okay, threw some instrumental music into my headphones, walked downstairs, did my gratitude, did my goals, and I started to write, just like I do every day. And as the words started to fall out onto the page, I was like, what is this, right? I don't even know what this is. I'm supposed to be writing like a show for Rise and Grind or something like that. And the words just poured out. And when I got done writing, I looked back at it and was like, oh, wow, this is different, right? This is something special. And so I got myself together. I got ready for work, did the shower thing, did all those things, right? Got ready for work, headed into the dealership that I was working at the time. And when I got to work, I immediately went and grabbed Brandon. Brandon's my videographer. Any video you've ever seen of me in the last decade, Brandon shot that video, right? And so I went and grabbed Brandon. I'm like, Brandon, I don't know what this is, but we gotta shoot it real quick, right? We gotta shoot it real quick. And so we grabbed the camera, and we started like hunting for a place where we could shoot this particular video. And we realized that the high school had like a little auditorium. So we went over to the high school. We're like, hey, can we use your auditorium? We're just gonna shoot this real quick. We got to get this on video. And they were like, yeah, sure, you can use the auditorium. So they set us up in the auditorium. We got all the cameras set up. We did everything that, we planned on doing. And right when I was getting ready to record it, all of these students poured into the auditorium. All these kids. And if you've ever been a speaker in any way, shape, or form, speaking in front of adults is one thing. Speaking in front of kids is a whole different story. They're a really difficult audience. Let's just say that, right? And so all these kids come poured into the room, and I have not rehearsed this thing. I literally just wrote it that morning, and now here I am. I'm going to do it in front of all of these kids that are high school age, right? And so we went in, the kids walked in, and we delivered the message. And what was crazy is that we had this auditorium filled with all these different kids as I started to speak. All of a sudden, they started to lean in. They started to really lean in, and they were listening. They were paying attention, like it was hitting, right? What I was saying in those words was really hitting. And after I got done, which I was super nervous, after I got done, I had multiple of the kids come up to me. And still today, whenever I go into Paris, Kentucky, I'll see these high school kids that talk about that particular poem and the impact that it made in their lives. So we delivered it there in front of those children. And then later, hundreds of thousands of people went on to hear that particular poem through our different feeds and YouTube. And as we distributed it out across all of the different channels, hundreds of thousands of people went on to be able to experience it. Now today, I got up, right? Today I got up like I normally do. And I had my glass of water like I do. And I went around and checked on the babies, and I wrote down my gratitude and goals and all of those things like I do every single day. And I grabbed my Morning 5 planner, and at the very top of the planner there was a quote that was submitted by Gypsy Wonder, at Gypsy Wonder. And the quote said this. It said, "When you are determined and know where you are going, waking up hits different." And so I thought about that this morning. I thought about what if no show, right? What if no Rise and Grind? If I never would have went live that first day, January 6th of 2018, like what if no show? What if no Morning 5? No Morning 5 ebook, no Morning 5 routine, no Morning 5. Like what if I never created the space to be able to receive a download? Or what if I never created enough space where I would even have the desire to deliver on a download? Like, what if you and I, both of us, what if we just kind of like sat down, didn't share our voice, didn't share our creativity, and just kind of let things happen to us, right? Didn't create any space to allow ourselves to really shine, right? Like, what if we just, you and I, what if we spent our entire life letting things happen to us and not through us? Like, I started to think about that this morning. Like, what would the world look like if that was the case? And my guess is, I'm just guessing, tell me if I'm wrong, but my guess is the world would probably be a desolate one. There would probably be a lot of people that are polarized into their own camps. A lot of division would be, I guess. There would probably be a whole lot of anxiety with people like having no clue of what's next, no confidence in the destination of their lives. My guess is people would be very reactive and unprepared. They would most likely be filled with shame and with doubt. They would probably live their lives compromising their beliefs and really never breaking through. My guess is they'd probably end up falling short of their potential. Like, I imagine if we all just kind of sat down and let life happen to us versus through us, my guess is we would live in a world that looks a lot like the one today. A world where people are divided and not united, where people are fearful and not faithful. A world where people feel burdened and feel heavy. The great Martin Luther King said this once. He said, I came to the conclusion that there is an existential moment in your life when you must decide to speak for yourself. Nobody else can speak for you. You see, my friends, you are a child of God, the God of the universe, the God that made everything. And that God gave you a voice, a creative spirit, the ability to make something out of nothing. And so I challenge you today to speak, and to speak loudly. I challenge you to know and understand that we need you. I need you. You are an integral part of what makes humanity great. Let your light shine, my friends. Let your light shine. And with that, let's dance. Yeah, that's right. Y'all know how we do it here on hashtag Rise and Grind. We got to get the body in motion, right? An object in motion tends to stay in motion. An object at rest tends to stay at rest. So let's get that body moving. I don't care what you're doing right now. If you're out there running, I need you to run a little bit harder. That's right. I need you to run a little bit harder. If you're lifting weights, pick up the weights. Let's go. Let's go. You can do a little bit more. If you were in bed, get up out of that bed. We got stuff to do today. Fair enough? This is also the part of the show where I need you to hit that share button. Please, if you're over there on YouTube, share it out. If you're on LinkedIn, share it out. If you're over on Facebook, hit the share button. And of course, if you're on Clubhouse, hit the little recycle button in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. You can share it out there as well, or you can just ping some friends into the room. Either way, all right? This is also the part of the show where I want to say good morning to you, and I want you to say good morning to me. When you're watching it live, when you're watching on replay, say what's up, and I'll say what's up back. Fair enough? Fair enough. Good morning, Gloria. How are you? How are you, Beverly? Yes, you are needed in this world. Yes, Ramon. Get up, get up, get up. Let's go. Beverly, great to see you. Valerie, I see you. Patty Frudenberg. That's right, Patty Frudenberg. Good morning, Patty Frudenberg. Good to see you this morning. What's up, Marilyn Wilkin? How are you today? I'm so glad to see you. Kim Fair, thanks for being here. I also see that Renee Moore is in the building. Miss Liza Myers-Borges is up in here. How you doing, Tony Mo and Allison? I see Sean and Camille. I see Nathali is up in here this morning. Where's my LinkedIn folks? I see some LinkedIn folks. I see Lynn Luckett. I see Janelle Griego. Stephanie Terry, good morning to you. What's up, Brian NC over on LinkedIn? Yes, I see you. How you doing, Tarika Simmons? I see Coach Jackie Underwood is in the building. Emily Galler is up in here. Don Sankey, Jeff Baker, Alexander Gonzalez. What's up, Arisha Moore? I'm glad you're here this morning. 46 degrees in Florida. What is going on, girl? That's way cold for y'all. I see Sean Weatherby is up in here. Everybody's up in here on hashtag Rise and Grind. Hey, thanks for joining me this morning. I've got a great show for you today. Greg Brenner is going to be joining us here in just a little bit. We've also got Ilana Lorraine. She's going to be bringing her beautiful voice over here to hashtag Rise and Grind. So make sure you stay tuned in, plugged in. It's going to be an incredible show for you today. Let's go! This is Breakfast with Champions, Millionaire Breakfast Club, your opportunity to get a seat at the table. I mean, check it out, man. Breakfast with Champions is everywhere nowadays. That's right. We've got the podcast. We're on places like Wisdom and Fireside. We're going to Green Room, and We've got YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn. Wherever you can join us, we would love for you to come get a seat at the table. Become the champion you know you are inside with Breakfast with Champions. Oh no. There it is. Whoa! Sorry about that, crew. For a second there, I couldn't find my link. I couldn't find what was going on here. What is going on here? I got to get back over here. Oh my goodness, having a morning. Good morning, Sarah. Good morning, Marvin. Good morning, Lolita. How are you today?
Morning.
Good morning. Morning.
Well, yes. I am so glad you guys are here with me this morning. This has been an interesting morning, has it not? We've had some popping in, some popping out, and so on and so forth, but it's an incredible Wednesday. So what's going on over in your world? What are your thoughts, Lolita, this morning?
Listen, you came in strong. Come on, poet, right? Standing up, not even knowing, just trying to take some pictures. Go ahead and get this video on and look at Fate just coming in. That message was worth being delivered. And I think it fits exactly what we've been talking about all week. So I'm ready to just discuss this, let go of this hate. Where were you thinking in that mindset? I'm ready to get all into it.
Yeah, I think that it's so important, right? Because for some reason, we feel like we have to fight, or people, Lolita, I think about it all the time, and I'm grateful for the way that I was raised now. It was tough when I was young, but I think about it all the time. It's like someone else does not have to be wrong in order for you to be right. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I feel like we're in this world where it's just like everyone insists that others are wrong versus just focusing on your truth and the reality that exists for you versus trying to force others to align with your thought process. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it can be an and, not an or.
That's right.
And I think your point is that when we open our minds to literally just hear other people, listen with two ears and speak with one mouth, then our focus changes and the world opens up differently. It's like a door gets unlocked and the beauty that's in it is exponential.
Amen to that.
You know, it's interesting too. I think that there's both an external openness, which you just hit on, and also an internal openness, which you were talking about, Glenn, like literally trusting yourself and having that confidence of what comes through you. And interestingly, I think lots of times when we're quick to attack someone else, it both attacking someone else and not listening to ourselves comes from a lack of confidence, right? You're not confident enough to express your own message, and then you're not confident enough, so you go with that mob mentality and you end up attacking others. And I think that when you make space for that kind of inner voice and you have confidence to express it, you know what that feels like. And so you're more open to hold that space for others, I think.
I love what you shared, Glenn, with because I've spoken about this before, and at the risk of sounding like a stuck record, I think sometimes people are trying to really find balance, but with balance, you kind of, one thing is fighting against the other thing. And I'll hold my hands up. I used to always sort of have the same mindset and the same kind of language around that as well. But I think, and I tell you, I attribute this to the community within Breakfast with Champions, actually, because when you do segments there, you actually get shares from people in the audience. And I remember one share was talking about trying to achieve harmony instead of balance, and that was one of something that I sort of took away and actually agreed with when I thought about it. Because if you're trying to do, as Lolita said, an either or, there's always going to be one thing sort of fighting against the other. Whereas if you try and achieve that harmony, then everything's in flow, everything's sort of going together. It's not this or that, but everything is actually working in harmony with the other thing. So I love what you shared there, especially what you touched on with social media.
Yeah, social media is a big part of it, and I don't know if you guys have seen the what is it, Social Experiment, or what's the name of that documentary on Netflix?
Oh, not Netflix. Yeah. I've seen it. That's scary stuff.
Yeah, man, it's crazy because it's like all these people that worked for these social media companies that ended up leaving because they saw like, oh my gosh, we built a monster, because the algorithm is designed to give you more of what you like, right? And the content creation that exists in social media is not regulated in any way, shape, or form. So you know, on like television, when you watch something on TV, you see those things about your pills or prescriptions or whatever, and then there's the whole commercial is like side effects are this, and that. This is not approved by the FDA, right? Like there's all these disclosures because there's regulations in television. There's no regulations on the internet, so anybody can post anything they want anytime at any given time, and there's propaganda machines that take advantage of that. And so if an algorithm is gonna give Lolita only what Lolita likes, thinks, and believes, and there's as much what's the word Sarah likes to use? What's the word you like to use, Sarah? Like verified, but not verified. You use a word like to.
I don't know where you're going. I don't know where you're going, Glenn.
Come on, when you look into somebody to make sure they got the receipts.
Influencer verification.
But yeah, you call it something else. Vetted, right? The information is not vetted, but there's a machine that's just going to shoot it out to Lolita, right? It's going to say, this is what Lolita likes. Doesn't matter that this information's vetted or not. Doesn't matter if it's credible or not. We're just going to give Lolita more of this. And so what ends up happening is we end up living our lives in these social media vacuums where we believe that our little feed is the truth of humanity. And the fact of the matter is every single one of us has our own world that exists in here, every single one. And so it's causing a big problem, causing a big problem.
You know what's interesting, Glenn, is that I have a 9-year-old son. And the way that he speaks to me in fact, right, is stuff that he got on the internet. It's stuff that Echo or Alexa has heard him say or us discussing. So we try to turn it on mute. But here's the thing. They think that it's fact, the reality of today. So the metaverse in their world is the reality. He talks to me from games that it is real. So we spend a lot of times talking about what is real that you can touch, what is reality, and how are you how are you shaping your thoughts? It's so interesting, and the conversations are so different now. The world is just a shift, right?
Yes, 100%. My wife's sister is very much like that. She speaks from fact, and she will not. It's hard to get her to listen to anything other than what she is told on the machine that she is now fully locked into.
I think it's interesting too how we can understand if we're in the same space as someone and we care about that person and we understand that person and we both come away with a different interpretation. I think we can understand that. So like if Marvin and I have a disagreement, I respect Marvin, we can talk through it and be like, oh, even though we were in the exact same space experiencing the exact same thing, we saw it differently. But the irony is that if you have millions of people in the same place, somehow you don't understand how everyone can experience it differently. And I can tell you one of the things that was really struck me was in the latest violence in the Middle East, in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, a lot of thought leaders who I really admire domestically shared news that I felt was very biased and not properly contextualized, because there's a really interesting thread of anti-Semitism on the left and in this country. It was so startling for me that thought leaders who I was dogmatically like, this person is always right, this person is always right, this person is always right, suddenly I was seeing them share news that was totally different from people who I respected in a different space on a different topic. And so it was like very eye-opening for me that it's like, well, this person can't be universally right to me if sometimes I think they're right and sometimes I think they're wrong. And it made me question every time that I was like, this person is always right, this person is always wrong. And yeah, it was super profound. The one other thing that I would add, we're talking about social media documentaries, there was one that came out on Netflix years ago called The American Meme, and I've met almost no one who's seen it, and it followed all of these influencers and it followed their rise to stardom and how profoundly miserable they are. Like the end, I have to warn you, is the most depressing ending of a documentary you'll ever see. They're all rich, lonely, miserable, and depressed. And it's so powerful because we're in a society where everyone wants to be influencers. And like, how is it that everyone is miserable by social media? Not only the end user, but literally the creators. It tracks your trajectory of this bizarre stardom and how profoundly unhappy every single one of them is. And it's super powerful to kind of see that machine from the inside and the impacts that it had on people and their family lives and their relationships to be inside the machine.
I think it speaks to a conversation we were having the other day, actually. I think it was David Spizak that said, do you want to be an influencer, or do you want to create impact? Or do you want to create influence, or do you want to create impact? And I think that's something that we should all be considering, because, you know, I think if you're creating impact, that's far more powerful than just, you know, being an influencer. You know, and I think for me, those two things kind of mean very, very different things, even though they sound the same. And to circle back to your point, Glenn, absolutely, that algorithm is a dangerous thing. So it's a constant, you have to constantly check that and make sure that you are driving the narrative rather than allowing it to sort of be driven for you, because it will constantly kick back in, and before you know it, you'll be getting that feed again from the algorithm, you know?
No doubt, man. No doubt. You are spot on when it comes to that. And, you know, one way to beat that is to get in rooms with people that don't look like you, don't walk like you, don't talk like you, don't think like you, don't believe what you believe. Get in those rooms and have some real deal conversations. And that's one way that I try, and I fail just like most of us, because it's easy to click what we like. It's easy to be attracted to what we like. So I try to make sure to get in those rooms that with people that are different than me. I feel like it expands.
Glenn just calls me when he needs someone to disagree with him and challenge him on everything that he thinks and believes. He'll just call me up. We'll have a chat.
This is very true. This is very true. We definitely.
You know, one more thing I was just thinking about is, because of the way that our environment is shaped and our beliefs are being thrown inside of our heads for us, it's so important that we tap in with folks who are going to challenge us, just like Sara said. The other thing is to help our children remember the foundation that they stand upon, so that as they go out and try to learn all of these different things, that they know that they can come back to a rooted foundation, like staying in touch with those people who are going to keep you grounded. It's so important. I just think for our children, it's so critical that we have open conversations with them, hear what they're thinking, and really stay in tune with them, because my son's mind, sometimes I'm blown away at the information that he knows, that he thinks is true, and then that he pushes back on me. So let's do it. We got to stay in touch.
I'm with you 1000%. We got to do it. We got to stay in touch with the kiddos, because they got a lot of things coming their way. And we've seen the results. A lot of these kids are dealing with a lot of anxiety, a lot of issues in their late teens and early 20s, growing up in these areas. So on that note, we're going to continue to shift this over to some good news with my man, Ramon Reid. Oh, shoot. Hold on, Ramon. Hold right there. It would help if I grabbed your camera. That would help. And it would help. I just was so in the conversation. I was like, oh my gosh. I was sitting here. I'm like, oh, wait, I got to produce this show. I forgot. I got to help Candice produce the show, I should say. Okay, Ramon. So give us some good news.
Absolutely. I'm going to remember, everybody, we are doing this as a startup. So Glenn Lundy is producer, director, host, cameraman, gripper, switcher, galley guy, galley girl, gaffer's tape person. He's like doing the whole thing. So welcome to Good News on Rise and Ground with Glenn Lundy. I'm Ramon Reid. Good to be here today. We're going to talk about 3 amazing things. New podcast coming out, talking about a slight change of plans in this new podcast. What is self Gaslighting, interestingly enough, and the best Apple Watch apps of 2022. We're going to touch on that as well. Our goal in these good news segments is really to do one of three things: make you smarter, make you laugh, warm your heart, and we try to do all three. You can get to know me better at RamonRay.com or IG at Ramon Ray Smart Hustle. So some good news of the day: there's a new podcast out by a cognitive scientist and creator of A Slight Change of Plans podcast, Maya Shankar. And I thought it was very interesting to share this because in this, Maya explains and she mixes the power of storytelling and science to really explain why we act in certain ways when things change. She has stars like Casey Musgraves, Tiffany Haddish, who's been quite a bit of times on the Breakfast with Champions platform in Clubhouse, of how they dealt with changes. And yet she mixes scientists like Adam Grant and others to talk about tips for how to live happier lives. Seems like a good fit, Glenn and team, for our Rise and Grind show as well. So I thought that was cool. Brand new podcast coming up. It got some awards on Apple Podcasts called Slight Change of Plans. Number 2, what is gaslighting? When you face a conflict, do you somehow convince yourself that you overreacted? Somebody hit your car, your house got flooded, your whole front lawn burned down, and you spilled Clorox on your pink shirt. No, that's the time to go, no, that's the time to react a bit. And then you can calm down and do a little better. But the point is self-gaslighting, where you invalidate and doubt your emotions and reality. This was put together by clinical therapist Britt Barkholtz and licensed clinical psychologist Caitlin Campbell. A few things they say about this: try to become aware of self-gaslighting thoughts and identify them. Find resources that can help you and commit to validating your thoughts, listen to this, without judging. And lastly, some cool best Apple Watch apps of 2022. There's a whole list of them. I pulled out a few. Napbot, sleep tracking, coloring watch. You can color your Apple Watch. There's a cool app called Pennies to keep track of spending and saving. Microsoft Translator. Many people are doing that because they want to communicate and be more a part of the experiences and lives of others. And Night Sky, those of you who like the stars and things, a virtual representation of the night sky. These are all real good news that we get from around the world. If you want links to these, just DM me on IG, the word good news, and I'm happy to send you these links. Once again, I'm Ramon Ray, glad to be part of the Rise and Grind community. What's up, hosts?
Ramon, you know what's funny? You reminded me of that meme that was like only millennials would call skipping breakfast intermittent fasting when you came out with the self-gaslighting, that it's like only this generation would name doubting yourself like self-gaslighting. Like we have to have like a very like specific scientific term for everything. It's kind of funny.
Thank you. I try.
That is funny.
I'm loving all of these. Just so you know, keep them coming, because I'm loving all of these apps as well. Because we all know that we need those apps to hack our time at times. Do you know what I mean? To make sure that we can automate our life. I think sometimes. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
They're super helpful.
And I must say, Marvin, somebody said to me once, it's amazing talking about millennials and others like that, Sarah. You know, somebody said, if you look at my watch, they said, Ramon, why don't you have an Apple Watch? Are you okay? And I'm like, I want my old school Swatch and Fossil big watch. See, you have Sarah, right? Exactly.
I told you I don't do the apps, Ramon. Why do you think I skipped over that story? I told you that yesterday. I don't do all that. I don't do all that.
Because you might be coloring. You can color your Apple Watch now. It's just unbelievable. Come on now. Yeah. Take my procrastination to another level. I will also say,
when I had an Apple Watch, the fashion suffered because I couldn't switch my watch out based on what I was wearing because I had to track my steps or whatever. So it just it didn't work for me.
Yeah, that is a pain when you can't match your watch to your clothes. It's kind of like, oh, the day's ruined, the day's over. What are we going to do? The world's coming to an end. Oh.
It's me self-gaslighting myself from home when I can't match my watch to my outfit. I just
that is definitely a tough position to be in. But yes, this is how we feel when we can't match our watch to our outfit, right? That's it right there. We're just no, I love it. It's a crazy world we live in. Ramon, we'll see you back here in
Thanks,
just a little
Lundy.
bit.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, brother. Love you, my man. Hey, that was Ramon Ray. Make sure you connect with him. He is amazing. Speaking of somebody who's amazing, Ilana Lorraine. So we were on Clubhouse, and I heard this voice, and I was like, that is the voice of an angel. I need to know who that human is. And so she came in, and she sang songs in our room a couple times, quite a few times, actually. And now I'm excited to bring her to you right here on hashtag Rise and Grind. So how are you doing this morning?
Hey, how are you? Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Yes,
Yeah. Oh my God, it's so nice to finally put a face to a name and a voice.
Yes, I agree with you 1,000%, and I am excited to share you with our audience here on hashtag Rise and Grind. So, are you ready to do some singing for us? Hello, hello. She's been perfect this whole time. Pop out and back in. There she goes. Oh my gosh, it's been so good. She even came on early. She's been here an hour testing with us already today. But that's how it goes sometimes here on live television on hashtag Rise and Grind. Which, by the way, I've got like a tie on today and everything. And
I'm like Glenn. Actually, let's talk about your fashion for a moment, Glenn, because you know I've teased you about the sweater vest. But I actually think that I like the outfit today. I like the shirts. I like the color coordinating. You stepped it up a little bit. I see it. You were wearing that gray pullover one too many times. So you stepped your game up. I can see it. It looks good today. I noticed. Did you and Marvin coordinate? Did Marvin talk before the show?
we did. We coordinated.
Look,
we had to get in here together.
I
Hold on,
think
Marvin. Hold on.
that's-
Ilana, are you there? Oh my gosh. No. Her voice is so incredible. I know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why she's frozen out. But I do know that I have, oh, did I upload it? Don't we have a video? I believe I have a video. Check this out. how awesome was that video right there?
Thank you so much.
That was so awesome.
Do you know what's crazy? I actually wrote that song 10 years ago. I'm actually about to do a new version of the song, but I sang that song during lockdown in Hampstead Heath in a place in London. I think I've told you the story before. And the song is all about hope. And actually, I just as lockdown kicked in, I was given a book called The Choice, which is a book written by a Holocaust survivor called Edith Egger. And it's so crazy because that book gave me this real kind of empowerment to go out and step out in front of the community to sing and realize that people need to have music that feels empowering in a time that, you know, everyone was feeling so kind of lonely and scared. And so it's kind of funny because, see, the video is all about me bringing people together. Well, 10 years later, during lockdown, I sang in Hampstead Heath, and actually it evolved into a festival, a COVID-friendly outdoor space for community that kind of is almost like the video was a manifestation 10 years before. So that's kind of crazy. So I've decided to like re-release the song. It's actually available on Spotify, that version, but I'm re-releasing it as like a new kind of 2022 version.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And I can't wait. I've got to tell you, I fell in love with your voice immediately the first time I heard it. And then the more I've gotten to know who you are as a human, I've fallen in love with you as well. You're all about bringing people together, and you do so in such a magical way. Your voice is so unique. It's powerful. I love what you're doing for the world. I really, really
Thank
do.
you so much, Glenn. I do appreciate being here. I love what you are doing. And I think Clubhouse has been a massive game changer for everybody, like this community that's being built. So I'm super grateful to be part of your Breakfast for Champions.
Well, thank you. And I want everyone to go out, hop over onto Instagram and look up Ilana Lorraine. Look her up over there on Instagram. Her Instagram's awesome as well. Make sure you connect with her, download her music, do all of those fun things. And then will you come back here in just a little bit and sing for us live? Would you be okay with that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm going to sing you my forthcoming single, which is also going to be an NFT. So, yeah, I'll be happy to.
Ooh, nice. Yes. Well, we will talk more about that as well. I love the NFTs for creators like yourself. So thank you so much for being here. And we're going to bring Ilana back here in just a little bit so you can catch her live. So don't go anywhere. We've also got Greg Brenner, who we're going to be bringing on here in just a second. Before we do, though, I thought it was important, and the team thought it was important, that we get to know Sara and Marvin and Lolita and Scott Simons even better. And so today we're going to get to know Mr. Marvin Reid a little bit better. Marvin, my man, what you got for us today, brother?
How are you, Glenn? Great to have this opportunity to chime in. It's funny because thinking about what Lolita shared yesterday, and also the fact that we've been, we are shining the light on Martin Luther King as well. It made me sort of, I suppose, answer this question a little bit differently if I was to say, oh, how do I describe myself? Yeah, people sort of know me as the strategy guy, and I know, Glenn, you know me as the tea and crumpets guy from the UK. But I think if I was to describe myself, I'd probably...
Crumpets, 007, you know, all the things.
Exactly. But I think if I had to describe myself, I'd probably have to go back to some of my earliest memories, really, and the people that really left their mark on me and sort of shaped me into the person I am today. And that makes me think of two individuals, specifically probably my mother and my grandmother. When I think of the level of integrity I had and the hard work and the resilience, that really comes from my mom. She was a nurse. You know, as a child, I'm thinking back now. Now I have the self-awareness to actually think back and see her there in her nurse's uniform, looking like a superhero. Do you know what I mean? But she was so hardworking. When she separated from my dad, she would do double shifts as a nurse. So I spent a lot of time with my grandma, and now looking back at that, I probably had the best of both worlds, because it really was a combination of that grit and determination to succeed, as well as, you know, the wiseness. You know, I don't know. I know you're a Matrix fan, Glenn. So you, when I say she was like the Oracle, you know, you know what I mean. Do you know what I mean? When Neo goes to see the Oracle, and there's so much power and so much knowledge there in the words that she said, and she would drop these one-liners, and the one-liners were like song lyrics, and they'd stick with you, and they'd mean something to you in the moment, and then when you cast your mind back, they'd mean something else, and they were so powerful. And so I would say those are the two people that have really shaped who I am today. And unfortunately, my grandmother's no longer with us. She passed away in 2012. But one of the conversations that I found out after, which was where it was actually at my wedding, and it was a fantastic day, boiling day, beautiful gardens, and my grandmother was sat there with my wife's grandmother, and they said, you know, look at this is amazing. To imagine that, you know, this is what we came to this country for our grandchildren to get married in a place like this. We could have never dreamed it. And I think, you know, now when I think of what I've achieved, I've done all of the corporate stuff, I've achieved a lot, but now I'm thinking about my vision and what I've achieved, and then also what's beyond the vision, and I speak a lot about this because I think that people don't really think about that enough. Because going back to what you shared about influence or impact, when you actually think about achieving the vision, you know, you go through the milestones to get there, but then when you think of what's beyond the vision, for some people it's scary, for other people it's exciting, and for me it really did you know, sort of I suppose put butterflies in my stomach to think about what's beyond the vision. And but I struggled with it, and I know I've had conversations with you about this, Glenn. And I know you gave me a fantastic book to sort of look at as well. And finally, in the last few years, I've found what is beyond the vision for me, and that is really pouring into entrepreneurs and helping business owners, and really serving first, and getting energy from their success. And that's kind of like sort of shaped who I am today. And there's a Martin Luther King quote actually that I ended up sort of stumbling upon because I was trying to find what was beyond the vision. And the quote was, "You do not have to see the whole staircase; just take the first step." Do you know what I mean? So that was that was quite an important moment for me, because I was thinking, I know I want more, but I don't know what that more is just yet. And being consistent and taking the first step meant that that started to get clearer and clearer and clearer for me. And then I obviously met you guys sort of a year ago, and stumbled in on the Breakfast with Champions community, and realized that all of the people I'd connected with a year ago were actually here in this community, which is absolutely crazy to think of. But yeah, I think when I think of my journey, those are the two things that I would really share. The two people that I really want to celebrate and lift up, because my mother and grandmother, there was a lot of sacrifice there, and I know that they probably sacrificed their vision to allow us to achieve ours, and that isn't lost on me, and that now really fires me up to want to do even bigger things and really sort of create that impact, not just the influence. So yeah, that I think that's what I'd share really.
Marvin Reid, you are one of my favorite humans of all time. And I have to tell you that one of the reasons why I believe in Clubhouse so much and I love Clubhouse is that I don't know that I would have met you otherwise. But literally, I'm fortunate enough that like we talk on the phone multiple times a week, which is crazy. Like Glenn always says, it talks on across the pond all the time. And, I love what you shared. And I think that you are are such a wise person. And so I love that you leaned into their wisdom, because that's definitely one of the words that I would use to describe you. And the other thing that I would say, guys, this is one thing that's really funny about Marvin, is that he always talks about how specific he is about his circle and how he doesn't have anyone who's dramatic at all in his circle. And one of the things that I love about Marvin is that, honestly, the journey to build Breakfast with Champions has been a little bit dramatic. And anytime that I've needed help, I've been able to call Marvin, and he always picks up and is right there. And he's just that calm voice of wisdom. So just super grateful for you, and that everyone else gets to know you a little bit better.
Amen.
No, it's fantastic. I appreciate you, and it's great to connect with all of you here. Actually, it's been a fantastic experience. But again, it just feels like the beginning of an incredible ride. And yeah, I'm enjoying the journey.
I love it, Marvin, and it's good to know if we pick up any drama around here over in Lexington, Kentucky. We'll just send it your way. Just shoot it on over the pond.
Oh no.
Are you sure?
No, I'm
Sarah, Sarah just said you're a great spot
no,
for that. Right?
That is the one exception to the rule. There have been
Exactly.
times when I've called him up and he just gets on the roller coaster ride of whatever's going on and helps us out, and I'm super grateful to him for that.
Glenn, I'm tapping.
He does play Narnia theme music whenever it happens.
Ooh,
exactly.
I love that.
I'm tapping into your strategy, Glenn, of using those one-word replies.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? That's my new thing.
No.
That's what
No,
I'm. Yeah,
he always
that's what I'm
gives
gonna
me
do
like
for
a British
2022.
New you in 2022. I love it. Hey, that was my man Marvin. Glad you got to know him a little bit better. We're all getting to know him a little bit better, and that's one of the cool things here on Rise and Grind and Breakfast with Champions. Another guy that I want you to get to know a little bit is my man Greg Brenner, and Greg is with us today. This is the HR dad, the Assistant Vice President of Human Resources at the University of Miami. He is also a Marshall Goldsmith certified coach, a servant leader, a podcaster, and he's been recognized as one of the 2021 top 50 most impactful people of LinkedIn by Ahmad Ayman. And we are super excited to have him here with us right here on hashtag Rise and Grind. Greg Brenner in the spotlight.
That is powerful, valuable stuff.
What are you doing, Greg? How are you doing this morning, my man?
I'm doing wonderful, Glenn. How are you? Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Hello, everybody. How are you all doing?
We're good, man, and I am so glad you're here. I'm assuming you're coming in from Miami this morning?
I am live in Miami. Yep, it's a cold winter day. It got down to the 70s yesterday. We had to break out the long sleeve. I got the long sleeves on today, and so it's chilly. We're ready to go. Everything's good.
That's what I heard. Now you guys are like, I think somebody messaged this morning on when we started the show that it was like 47 degrees this morning or something.
Yeah, that's like people are bringing out the corduroy pants from the 70s, and they're just they're trying to figure out how to stay warm down here because we're not prepared for this. And obviously that 40s happened like at 3 a.m. in the morning, so only you were up at that time, Glenn. So it's good. We're adjusting well. Actually, I love the change. We usually have two seasons here. It's either sunny or humid. That's it.
Right.
That's our two seasons. So
well, let's hope the Atlantic Ocean. It's the Atlantic Ocean over there, right? Let's just hope that doesn't freeze. Okay, we don't want that to freeze over in those low 60s or anything.
We're good.
It would be detrimental to the economy down there in Florida if you froze that ocean up down there, man. So talk to me a little bit, man. The HR dad. What are we talking about here? HR, human resources is typically, it's interesting. When I first think from a corporate standpoint, when I first think human resources, I think like discipline, trouble, not fun, nothing fun. And I definitely don't think relationship. I think more like principal's office than I do dad or parent. So talk to me about this HR dad. What's that all about?
Yeah. So I started writing a little while ago on LinkedIn shortly after both my parents passed away about 5 years ago, and I needed a kind of an outlet, and I was always a pretty good writer, but a terrible technical writer. So I hired a writing coach, and Martha Finney, we were talking about all the things that I like to write about, and I tend to write like I speak, really from the heart. And she said, all you talk about is leadership and this human resource thing and building the great environment, but you always talk about your kids, your family, and just helping people be their best at work. She goes, you know what you are? You're not the regular HR guy. You're the HR dad. And so that it kind of stuck. She says, can you live with that? And I started writing underneath that title, and it stuck for some reason. So I'm a dad of two teenagers. I can't say I'm a dad of as many kids as you are, but I've got two. And
you're not the only one who can't say that, Greg. Don't worry.
So we have we're kind of I write some articles around, I call it smack dab in the middle of life, and that's where we all are. We're all just in this journey, and in different places, different spaces, and in human resources, we've forgotten that human element of people, and humans in our name, and we get caught up in things that you spoke about. Oh, it's the policy, it's this, it's that, and it's call HR, and there's a place for that. There's people that do some not smart things in the workplace, and HR needs to be there. But it really is about cultivating an environment that is meaningful, that people can do their best, and they want to be within the workplace. And so that's what we try to do, at the same time knowing that we're all people, we all have families, we're not widgets in the workplace. We're people, we're mothers, we're fathers, we're partners, we're sons and daughters, we're parents. And so we have to remember that in the business side, and I think businesses right now are getting a wake-up call, because I think they've forgotten that over a period of time. And now that the tide has changed from a buyer's market, from that seller's market to a buyer's market, people are realizing real quick, we got to do some things differently.
Yeah, like we got to put the humanity back in human resources, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Man, I love that, and I love that you're leading the charge on that down there at the University of Miami. And so, with your particular insight, what I love about doing interviews, what I love about meeting great people from all over the world, is everybody's got their view of what's going on, and I like to see behind the lens of what's going on. So, being in your environment and dealing with a lot of our young adults, right? I'm assuming the majority of our college students at the University in Miami could be considered young adults. I'm sure there's some older folks there too.
Sure.
But dealing with, or not dealing with, but working with our young adults, what would you say this, as far as like the pandemic and all the stuff, over the last couple years, how are our young adults dealing with these particular situations these days?
Well, I think it's impacted them that we won't know that impact for years to come. I think I was just talking with my daughter. We had a volleyball tournament this weekend, and we're driving, and she was talking about the pandemic, and she's a sophomore in high school, going to be a rising junior, and had another one of her teammates in the car. She goes, we've been in this pandemic since 8th grade, and I'm going to be a junior next year, and we're still in the pandemic. And so that gives you a sense of how long this has been impacting their lives. I have a son who's a freshman in college as well. And so what I found is that this group is resilient, but they've missed out on some informative time in their life, in connection, and this place and this vulnerability that they have of growing up and experiencing different things. And so there's been a wider range of really good things that's happened during this time, and I think the resiliency shows up. And there's other things where they've really retracted and missed out on connection, just like us older adults in the room. We've missed that connection. I mean, look, Clubhouse was born on this theory of we needed to come together in this connection. And so I think for these students, they're resilient, they find ways, but also they've adapted their minds to deal with sometimes remoteness, to deal with being alone, to deal with different things. And it's bringing a host of things from people creating some really great ideas on things to to diving into a deep depression. And so I think it runs this valley. And so I think it's helping these young people find their way through troubled times. And that's kind of what life is about anyway. But for these kids, it's been an incredible journey, and something that you can't really speak from experience. I can't mentor kids through times that were like this, because I never experienced it. So I'm making stuff up if I'm saying, oh, you got to handle it this way. Hell, I'm trying to deal with it myself. So how can I help the kid go through that? So I think we're all on the same journey. We're at different spaces. We have a little bit more experience in dealing with life, so that helps a little bit. But at the end of the day, I think this generation is not going to be defined by the pandemic, but they are going to be impacted. And I can't wait to see the good that comes out of it, because I think there's going to be a lot of good that comes out of it. And I think this world needs some good right about now, because there's such a, I was talking about this with a friend of mine just the other day, and there's such fear out there, just fear of, I need to do this. I got to get this. If I don't have the vaccine, if I don't have the mask, and not going political, but there's this fear out there, and that we can't operate in that fear. Our brains aren't meant to operate in fear all day, every day. So dealing with that as young people, I think is a key component, as well as for us adults.
Hey, Greg, I wanted to pop in and hit you with a question. Thank you so much, HR Day. You just gave so much perspective. So I was talking earlier about my 9-year-old son. How do you mentor the young adults that you are around to really pause, to give themselves permission to sit in that pause, because the world seems to go so fast? I'm so encouraged to hear you talk about that.
So what I do, certainly with my kids, and if I'm around some students, I'm not always around our students, but when I am, somebody brought this up to me a little while ago, and it stuck with me a little bit. And it really gets back to listening, even at 9 years old, listening. And one of the questions that this person posed that you should think about, and they challenged me to think about when you're listening to your kids or listening to a student or whatever, do you want me to listen just to listen, or do you want me to help solve this problem? And when you think back at that, and it's like, okay, it was a simple little thing, and you start thinking about it. How many times do we, either our kids bring something up, or you're with some young people or student, and immediately as parents or immediately as a mentor figure, we go into solving the problem. And sometimes even at that young age, they just want to talk. They don't need the problem solved. So for me, it's about asking questions. I think that's always been my go-to, personally, and my success factor. One of my success factors, besides my family, because they're much more successful than me, but asking great questions is the way to go. Immediately you think about, what am I going to respond? But respond with a question, and you'll be amazed what comes out of their mouths, because at that age, at 9 years old, they're paying attention to everything. I've got the teenagers, you think they're not paying attention to one damn thing I'm saying. They hear everything because they repeat it. I hear it in other places. And so, find the great question. And without a great question, a great answer has nowhere to go. So be like a coach with the young people out there, and ask great questions, I would say, Lydia.
That was powerful. All right, no pressure on me to ask a great question now, but I did want to ask you, Glenn kind of touched on at the beginning this idea that we think of HR as the principal's office as stuffy. What would you recommend to, I actually am curious on both sides of the equation, both to people in HR so that they can be more accessible, so that people aren't afraid to lean on them as a resource? And then what would you, suggest to people who maybe are having trouble bridging that gap but need that advice in that environment?
Yeah, so I think for the HR people first is be approachable, be available. Don't lock yourself in your room or your Zoom room. Get out there when there's not a problem, right? And many times people see the HR person when there's a problem, and that's the wrong time. That may work if you're a paramedic, where you want to see somebody where you're having an issue or something like that. but make sure you go ahead and get out there and be amongst people and build relationships with people. I think that's and build connection. I think that's very, very important. And for the other side of it, from the and I've heard horror stories from HR, right? And I've heard horror stories from employees saying, I can't trust HR, I can't do this. Well, you have to understand from your own organization how they run and what are the values within the organization. If you can't go to someone who's supposed to be there to be a voice for people, and when you have a concern, then you might be in the wrong organization. And because if you're not valuable enough to be able to go to somebody if you're having concern, and people come to HR for an array of reasons. So it might be my benefits are wrong, or somebody pinched me or in the wrong place where it's not acceptable. And if that stuff gets brushed under the table, or it's just one-sided, or they never talk to you about what's going on with you, you have to decide. I'm not saying quit on the spot, because you have to do what's best for you. But there's, I would say, build that relationship with your HR people before you need them, but also, know if you can trust them or not, and make sure that it's a factual piece that you don't trust them. Make sure it's actually fact and not some folklore. And, a lot of times people say, "Oh, I can't go to HR," and they're like, have you ever talked to somebody in HR? No. Have you ever talked to somebody like me? No. So how would you know? Well, I don't know. People have had experiences of it,
right?
So it becomes like a major rumor mill.
Greg, I also think that's powerful for all leaders in all positions, not just HR. This idea that build a relationship when things are good. Don't just leave your office when things are bad. I think that was super strong. Like if everyone watching today leaves with that, I think that was a moment.
Yeah, because what happens is you get upset. You have this amygdala attack. I can't say that damn word, but it's so you have this attack in your mind, and you're going nuts, and you're going bonkers, and you say, I'm out of here. You know what? But that's only going to hurt you in the short term. What I would do is, immediately you start looking for something. If with the caveat, if it's to a place where you are getting, sick, and if the environment is so toxic. And I've heard stories. Unfortunately, there's some really people that do some things not don't run the right way, and there's others that are wonderful companies, and to the point of the stress level of people's hairs falling out. That was not my case. I just happened to be follically challenged. However, it was that I did have some stress when I was in the restaurant business years ago, but I think that's a whole different story. But anyhow, I've had people that have been in situations that their hair's falling out of stress. If that's the case, think about a plan of how to either fire that boss, find a different path within the organization if it's a large organization, but I guess my advice would be don't hang out so long that you've accepted poor behavior for a long period of time.
Yeah.
Address the behavior where you can if it's safe to do so. I call it CLM. There's a career limiting move if you bring things up at times to the wrong person, right? In certain organizations, there's some sacred cows and things of that nature. So if you really feel that that's the case, do what you need to do to move and get out of there. If you feel you can't change that environment yourself.
Yeah, man. I love that, Greg. I love your heart for humans, adding humanity to human resources. You've got a podcast that we can all tune in and listen to, right? How do we connect on that?
Yeah, well, I had this wonderful guest. I don't know if you've met him. His name is Glenn Lundy. He was one of my guests on the show. It's called the Everyday People Podcast by the HR Dad. You can catch it on anywhere. And it's really about this human story about people, everyday people, because I think everybody brings something to the table. And sometimes we have to find ways to dust that off. But people have unbelievable stories. Your next door neighbor has unbelievable stories that you just don't know about.
No doubt.
And
no doubt.
So I don't interview any of those big time names. Well, I interview you were like the biggest name I interviewed, but I don't interview like big time names. But there's some wonderful people out there.
Well, you're a wonderful human. So glad to see you again here on #Rise and Grind. We're gonna hang out over in Clubhouse here in about 15, 20 minutes if you want to hang out, and we'll hit you some more questions, let the audience have the opportunity to do so as well. But thanks for being here with us, Greg. And we're going to continue here on hashtag Rise and Grind. We're going to bring Ilana back here in just a few minutes. She'll be back singing live right here, which we're super excited about. So stay tuned. This is Breakfast with Champions Millionaire Breakfast Club, your opportunity to get a seat at the table. And we got to tell you, we're super excited about the new Morning 5 Planner. If you've been looking for community, you've been looking to connect with like-minded and like-hearted people that like to rise and write their gratitudes and their goals, people that are interested in evolving into the best versions of themselves that they can possibly be, then the Morning 5 Planner is for you. That's right. You can go to themorning5planner.com and get you one today. I don't know, Ramon. I'm thinking we might need to change that little intro. It's so soft and calming. It's like, oh, the good news with Ramon. Whereas you're more like, the good news with Ramon. So I'm going to talk to my team about that.
I love that, Glenn. I look forward to hearing what the news is going to be like. But Glenn Lundy, thank you so much. And Glenn, as you may know, this is a special segment of good news. We're going to do the social good news from our audience, from our community, and share some things that they talked about today. And I must give props. I'm here filling in for Alexander Gonzalez, who often does this. This is not an easy segment to do, to curate the news, curate what people are saying, and get it. But I'm going to do this in 3 stages in the next 4.5 minutes, give or take. Glenn, your poem at the top of the start, that was on fire. I've heard it 1 or 2 times before, and I encourage you to keep playing it every once in a while across platforms. It's always refreshing. Danielle said, powerful, powerful, powerful. Tosh Queen from England said, I'm loving this live. Iffy says, it's hitting me in the heart. And y'all got to check out Iffy Thomas, another favorite person of Sara McCord. She's my favorite. Oh, boy. Sonia Murray says, we need love and peace. Erase the hate, spread the fear. Definitely a mic drop there. Jacqueline Underwood said, really good. Valerie L. Oakley. I have an idea I want to share with Candice after this about how we can get some engagement, some like certain tokens I want to get. I'm just previewing what I'm going to share with Candice. I'm just saying. But Valerie gave several comments. So I want to prop her out and shout her out. Glenn is snazzy. Valerie says, I'm loving the planner and sharing it with 30 friends. 30 friends, Glenn Lundy. So definitely give some props to Valerie. And she says, definitely, I love the change in the way I face a new day since connecting with BWC, who tunes into the content that will change your life at 2 a.m. So Valerie, we see you, and props to you. A few more things that I'll share here. Now I'm going to turn to some host comments. Amy Kennedy says, oh man, what if we just let things happen to us and not through us? Oh man, she said it twice. So Amy, thank you. We see you. Jean Stafford, my favorite girl. It can be an and not an or. I think Lolita, you touched on that. She was affirming that. Christina Howard, again, affirming that something doesn't have to be wrong in order for you to be right. So I will pause there and welcome to join the discussion with our host. What's up, y'all?
Ramon. Iffy Thomas is my favorite, but so are you.
I'll take that.
One thing we do in our house, Ramon, is so I whisper to the kids that they're my favorite. But the way that I do it is I say, you're my favorite Willow. You're my favorite Savannah. You're my favorite Joel, right? Because they are my favorite Joel. So that it's so it's honest and authentic. So Ramon, you're my favorite Ramon. No, hands down.
I am tickled pink or brown. No, but that was some good news. And I must say, y'all, this is not easy to do. There's so many comments pouring in. If there's time, let me just give 2 more things to share. Lynn Luckett, she talks about the show itself. I love the wealth of information from multiple perspectives. She says more, but I'll pause there. Another thing that Curtis brings on, the transitions to break things up. Love watching the growth of the show over the past year. And props to Greg Brenner. Greg, people loved your segment as well. That and, of course, our artists. So that's the social news. That's the social segment. People are loving it. And, again, I'm filling in for Alexander. It's not easy to do. Back to the host. What y'all think?
Yeah, what's
Ramon,
Alexander doing? Go ahead, Lolita.
Oh, I gotta jump in here. Ramon, it's the head nods for me. It's the facial expressions for me. It's the energy that Ramon brings to the stage. And it's the voiceovers that does it all for me. Ramon, you bring nothing but fire. You're such an integral part and you bring the smiles up. So let's give it to Ramon. Make sure y'all blow him up today because he is hashtag fire. Thanks,
I
Ramon.
received that. Thank you, Lolita. I received that. I received that.
For me, it's the little witty jokes that he has. That maybe they're funny, maybe they're not funny. I don't even know. I just know
They're probably not.
I just know that his delivery of them is funny every time. I think it was Kate Volman this morning. She has a podcast, right? Kate Volman's got a podcast, and it's
Motivate email list or something like that.
yeah, it's something really positive. And Ramon was like, she has a podcast. I think it's something depression, but it's actually oh yes, I'm glad that you cleared that up, Kate. It's actually positive, not depression. And I'm just like, Ramon, you are such a clown, dude. I love it.
And
Appreciate
I'll
that.
just add on to y'all the amount of time, effort, energy, and staff resources that Ramon pulls into bringing you the good news segments every day. I mean, we see the amount of preparation you put in, not only to your delivery, but also gathering all of that information. And I mean, we just appreciate you so much. We couldn't do it without you. You're just integral to what we do every day.
Sara McCord, good to be here. Always good to do that. And again, thank you. I received those kind words all with the team, uplifting all of us, and definitely Glenn Lundy. And again, keep the comments going, everybody. Keep the comments going. You know what? I'm just going to say something, Glenn and Sara. I hope it's okay. I'm just going to say it. Here it goes. I do have the winner of the crumpets, and I'm going to work with Marvin to get crumpets. I didn't forget I have the winner of the crumpets. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to mail my personal box of Breakfast with Champions to the person I called out here. And Glenn, you better get me another one. I'm just going to put Glenn on the spot. I want another one. So I know who, Miss J in your office. I'm going to hit her up, but I'm going to send this to one of our team members. Keep the comments coming. Ramon and Alexander are going to send you more of these. That's it. I just declared it.
I love it, Ramon. Get on out of here, brother. Appreciate having you here. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Ramon Ray. He is the man. Make sure you're following him all over the place. And speaking of people that are amazing, Ilana Lorraine, Ilana, I always want to say Ilana Lorraine is here. Yes, she's here with us today, and she's going to be singing for us live her new single. So, Ilana, take it away.
Thank you so much, guys. So this song is called Reason Why. It is another one of the songs that I sang during lockdown, and I will be releasing it as an NFT next month and releasing it. So here we go. Oh, my baby, so tell me how you like your fire. Tell me all your soul desires for this life. Oh, my baby dear, I just want to hold you near, whisper peace and hope, no fear for this life. So even when the sky is gray, even when the rain is falling down, my heart won't ever need no reason why. So when the night turns into day, we spread our dreams and lighten up the skies. It's on the wings of breath that we can fly. Oh, I had a dream we could become one, complete. Meltdown walls find out, retreat, yes, in this life. As I look around, you know, secrets can be found. This heart's on sacred ground for this love. So even when the sky is gray, even when the rain is falling down, my heart will never need no reason why. So when the night turns into day, we spread our dreams and lighten up the skies. It's on the wings of breaths that we can fly. So guide and protect. We got strength to grow, live life no regret. Cause this life is a quest. Remind us every day, with love we won't forget. No, yeah. Oh, my baby soul, tell me how you light your fire. Tell me all your soul's desire for this life. Thank you.
Wow. Incredible. Glenn, I want to jump straight in if I can, man, because I'm loving the UK representation we got now in the room. We've had so many artists, and I've been waiting for this moment. I had all sorts of Amy Winehouse vibes coming from you just then. That was a beautiful song. I would love for you to sort of share a little bit about, because you come across, I'm feeling a vibe of kind of like spirituality there, and do you know what I mean? And really sort of depth in your lyrics. And I'd love for you to sort of speak into that a little bit.
Yeah. So I grew up in a religious Jewish home, my father being the minister and my grandfather being a rabbi. So I had a lot, community was like always a big thing for me. But I think my mission in life is to bring people together. That's something, and to awaken kind of hearts. Like I love to help artists. So I've been running a night for the last 11 years to bring artists to the stage. Which I do every week, and put 15 artists on stage. But yeah, do you know what? I just feel like, you know, I've got this kind of Bob Marley message. Like, I feel like we all need to just be connected and celebrate life. And like Edith Egger, the Holocaust survivor, says, in every moment, we have the power in our minds to choose life. We have the power in our minds to, you know, to kind of, to turn our perspective to be as optimistic or as full of life as possible. And this is something that, through my own anxiety, if I'm honest, during lockdown, I felt really empowered when I stepped outside of myself to say, do you know what, like, this isn't about me anymore. Like, if we write songs, we should share our songs. If we make art, we should share our art. If, you know, it's not really time for us to either hold back from insecurity. It's time for us to kind of share what we are given. So yeah, this song's been sitting on my hard drive for 7 years. So it is time. I do need to release it now.
Yes, you do. Indeed. And I love it. You have such an incredible voice. Thank you so much for being here with us here on #Rise and Grind this morning. You've really made an impact around the globe. We got listeners in from all over the place, and you really made an impact this morning. You're really, really special.
Thank you so much. I look forward to come back and drop my NFT in February. So I look forward to sharing you.
Absolutely. We look forward to that as well. Thank you so much for being here with us today on Rise and
you.
Grind. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the show. It flew by again today. But that's it. That's what we got. So you guys want to go hang out over on Clubhouse and chat a little bit more? We can chat with Ilana. We maybe chat with Greg, and of course get some feedback from the audience on what they thought of today's show. How's that sound?
I love it. Let's do
Sounds
it.
good.
Great
That sound
show,
like a good
guys.
idea?
Let's
Yes,
go.
sir? Yeah, let's do it.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Did
All
we
right,
have
cool.
a choice? I missed it.
All right. Well, I will meet you guys over there then. Ladies and gentlemen, that was today's episode of #Rise and Grind. If you enjoyed it, make sure you hit that share button. Make sure you let us know. And feel free to come on over to Clubhouse. We'll be hanging out over there right now, chit-chatting about all the things that we got going on around in Breakfast with Champions and #Rise and Grind. So thank you so much for being here with us. We'll be back again tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. We will be back for another episode of this incredible show. See ya.